So one of the challenges I've been working around in this space, oh hello Bumblebee, um, is planting stuff in a way that the chickens won't immediately destroy it. So they love kicking at the roots and scratching and doing chicken stuff. It's what they do. And I'm not going to fault them for that. But trying to plant in a way that protects the roots from being scratched at has been an interesting challenge. And you can see this area right here, I've utilized a couple of different strategies, such as planting stinky plants. So there's garlic planted around here. Is that a garlic? I actually don't know. That smells pretty garlicky. And so I've been planting stinky plants, which help to keep the chickens out. So like this mint, which is a cat mint, garlic, comfrey, which they don't seem to like to wade through, which I found kind of surprising because they will chow that if they're in confinement and you give them those leaves. And then we have, I believe this is a purple raspberry plant right here. And then, oh yeah, in here, you can see some fruit on that even. Little tiny bush cherry, I believe is what this is, which is pretty crazy. I didn't even see flowers on that, I don't think. Oh, you can see the raspberries popped up a new shoot at the base, right where my finger is, which is pretty cool. And then this is a peach tree. This is, I think it's called like an Indian heart blood peach. Oh, there's a tag right here. Peach Indian blood free. Okay, so take with that what you want. Should be a nice peach. And you can see, to protect this whole area, along with the stinky plants, I've been putting sticks in, which seems to do pretty well. It seems like a stick at shoulder length of the chicken, so maybe like a foot high. The more sticks, the better. So this area has been suitable with, at a little more than a fist width in between the sticks and the plants, and that seems to be doing okay. You can see on the back side, they've probably scratched in here a little bit, which is why there's going to be some bare soil. But overall, pretty good, and that seems to be doing okay. I've tried different stuff to keep the chickens out. Another really good one, good method is just this fence. It's not my favorite thing to do, and I'd like to take it down eventually when this area gets a little bit more established. It's in a good spot right now, and I know that if the chickens were in here, it would look a lot different. It would look a lot more like this bed over here, where the chickens have been scratching at the mulch layer and just burning up all of the nitrogen on the surface. That's been a challenge. I've replaced this with some actual fence. I used to have this gate here tipped over, and they were jumping up on this bar and then jumping into the bed, which not great. And actually, it looks like right here somebody tried to jump up here on this edge, and it was wobbly enough and not strong enough that they didn't want to chill. So this works to keep the chickens out. This was an interesting attempt. This is a bed fenced with natural materials that I got from branches falling in the winter. So it's a mix and prunings. So we have a piece of pear, a lot of hemlock branch, looks like some stuff that fell in from over the fence too. This looks like a piece of birch of some kind. But yeah, this basically does nothing. The dogs run through this. It used to be a lot denser. Not great for keeping the chickens out either, as you can see. They really don't care. If I had to do this again, which I will redo it at some point, I think I would do something more aligned with raising, putting a ground layer, or I guess like a boundary here, kind of like I've started doing over here, just bringing in some sticks to kind of define the edge of the bed at the base, and then I can pile in compost and plant sticks in there, and then that can be more of a temporary fence to kind of keep everything contained and separated from the chickens, and then they can still enjoy stuff that peeks through. So actually, while we're over here, this is a great showcase of the stick sticking method, which works really great at protecting the rhubarb plants as they're emerging. So as they emerge, they come out of the ground and they're just basically green balls at the base, and they are really susceptible to the chickens scratching them and burying them, and it's just not a good time. So what I do is I plant a bunch of sticks. Once I see them coming up and I know exactly where the rhubarb is going to be, I'll plant a big circle of sticks all the way around where I think the rhubarb is going to be, and then after the rhubarb grows, I can pull these sticks out and put them back as a chop and drop mulch, and it kind of keeps the chickens from scratching around that area. But the chickens have actually been eating the rhubarb leaves this year, which is pretty weird. I've never seen that. I don't think it's a massive problem. They're not, completely defoliating the plant. And also, I think it's acting, or the rhubarb is responding in a way that's making it send up more stalks, which I'm fine with. I like eating rhubarb. My mom makes a killer rhubarb pie. Kind of a family tradition at this point. And so the more rhubarb stock, the better. You can see tons of little stalks in here, which I think is from the chickens kind of going to town in some places on these leaves. You can see here a little yostaberry, which has been layered down in there. We've got the mother plant back in here that we planted for my first cat, which was I don't know, it's been about 15 years since she passed away, so that's roughly how old this plant is, and it's still really small as far as 15-year-old plants go. It's been kind of in the shade here, and it's moved a couple of times, and we had a dog that absolutely destroyed it, loved ripping at it in her frustration. So the plant's seen a lot, and so now that it's in a slightly better spot, I've been layering some of these plants, and at the end of the season I'll be able to dig out right here and get a whole new yostaberry plant, which will be awesome. You can see more garlic up in here, strawberries at the base. And once again, this is going to be a strawberry plant that I probably don't get the strawberries from, which is all right. That's the way it goes. That is just the way she goes. And this plant is a great example of what happens when you have the plants out with the chickens, because even at this height, 3 feet tall, you can see there's absolutely no fruit on here, and this thing flowered like crazy and did have a bunch of fruit set, but the chickens pick them off when they're that big, and so we don't get any unless we put a fence around it, which I neglected to do this year. And that's just the way it is. You want fruit, you got to protect it. Or you can plant some fruit for the chickens and turn that fruit into eggs, and you can plant some fruit in a fenced area, and then you can have fruit too, which is what I've done over here. I don't know if you guys can see, but there is plenty of fruit set and growing on this other, I believe this is an actual gooseberry. And you can see strawberries in there doing absolutely phenomenally. This bed is definitely doing the best. There's another bed which is doing very well, but I would say this one is doing the best, and that's solely because the chickens haven't been allowed in here. It's been at least a year since the chickens have been in here. And even then, I think they were in there for just a minute. They just kind of slipped in while I had the gate open. But yeah, let's do a quick tour of this one. You can see right here, this is going to be a sea berry. And I have this planted on the north side of this bed in a way that when it grows tall, it'll be right on this walkway, and those extra branches will branch into the walkway to be pruned, and they'll branch over the other side, which won't really be covering anything. We have a lemon mint right here, thornless blackberry. Cannot recommend thornless blackberry enough. Really just a fantastic plant. Grows profusely. I'd put it right behind the raspberries, honestly. It's right up there. Super vigorous, super productive. Doesn't spread through the root layer. This spreads by tip layering. So when the raspberry cane, or when the blackberry cane droops over and its tip touches the ground, that will root if conditions are right, and I try to make sure that's the case. And then I will I'll get another blackberry plant, which I do have a bunch throughout here. This, I believe, is a native grass. Spooked chicken. And a troublesome clover. Oh my god. Getting into some kind of digging situation. She is a cuter. She is a little cuter. You can see here this columbine, which I just planted this year, and seems to be doing quite well. Giant blue blooms. Tons of seed heads on this, which I'm really excited about. I'll be spreading that and giving a serious propagation attempt to growing that seed. Not sure how else to propagate columbine, so if you know, please let me know. Here is that Monarda, which I have almost anywhere that will accept it. Really just a fantastic plant. That smell is just amazing. Super fuzzy leaf. Real nice. Doesn't seem to be super aggressive with the spreading either. Even if it is, I still like it. This looks like a garlic mustard. Actually, no. This has a... I don't think garlic mustard has the seed pods like this. Some kind of mustard. Seems to be doing alright. We'll think about cutting that back. This golden Alexander here with the yellow flowers has just absolutely taken off. Last year I got a couple of stalks of really nice flowers just like this, but just a couple of stalks. And as you can see this year, that's a 2.5 by 2.5 foot just absolute monster of a bloom, which is amazing. The bees absolutely love this, and it's just a great looking plant. And you can see it fills out underneath this Honeycrisp apple tree quite well. This branch just kind of droops over, gives a little bit of shade. This kind of competes and gets a little bit taller. I think it's just good all around. And yeah, this is another one that I'd like to divide out at the end of the year. I have a feeling this is going to be one that I dig up and split at the root base. But once again, if you guys know a better idea, please let me know. if you have some experience with that. And this Honeycrisp apple, another tree that I bought last year, which is just gotten real chonky as far as planting in the fall goes. It's doubled, I would say, in stem thickness, and branches are no exception there. I kind of tried to train the branches down a little bit, and it's about time to pull these. I mean, this is real loose, and that one's a little bit tighter, but I really want to make sure that this has nice low branches, and I can keep this tree small and low here. And I didn't even see this until right now, but look at the size of this pea plant popping up here. That is just a monster pea plant. Oh my lord. I don't think I've ever seen them get that tall and chunky. Like, look at the leaf on that. Oh my lord. Good stuff. Hopefully get some peas off of that soon. I believe this is a wisteria right here. That kind of looks like an elderberry as far as leaf structure goes. Hey, kitty. This is a bird bath that my dad made a long time ago. This is a little cup I made and filled with cool rocks and stuff that I found, like this marble, which I found in a pile of compost, which was pretty cool. But yeah, this I leave out so the bees can get a little drink. They can come and perch up on these rocks and tea figures and get a little drink. This needs to get cleaned out. Give it a little wipe down, which I will do after this. Sunchokes absolutely everywhere. This, I believe, is a hyacinth, which will get shaded out by this Queen Anne's lace in a little bit. You can see crocuses, which kind of look like grass this time of year. But yeah, the crocus is the one with this white stripe down the middle. Nice cat. What else we got in there? There's a little persimmon tree with a tag on it in here somewhere. Oh yeah, right there, but I don't think anything's coming out of that. I saw a little bit of green in the stem, but I think it's dead. Oh, that looks like ironweed popping up right here. Very nice. And right next to that is a Penstamen digitalis, a foxglove beard tongue. Really nice plant. One that I divided out last year to a couple of places. That was my first attempt right here, and that's a little bit of green popping up at the base of that stick. So that seemed right here. So that's pretty cool. This is one I'm not sure about. I clearly planted it. I have absolutely no idea what it is. Part of me thinks it's a spirea of some kind. Not 100%. We'll find out when it flowers for sure. Or if it flowers. Hopefully it does. Absolutely going crazy in here with the sunchokes. Ooh, and it looks like a little milkweed popping up. Right here. Yeah, there we go. Real nice. Hazelnuts in there. Oh, and there's a fig tree in here which I overwintered. Yes. Right at the base of this sunchoke stalk, which I used as a marker. And that's another great thing about sunchokes. You can see those little fig leaves. I absolutely love these sunchoke stalks. Just one of nature's bounties. Great mulch, great for marking, fast decomposing if you don't need it, grows back every year vigorously. That, I believe, is a liatris, which is cool, with a pea plant popping up the side of it. Very cool. Another good looking thornless blackberry. You can see they're actually all in there. And you can see a couple of sandy looking patches in there. Those are where I've planted my onion starts. So this was a experiment to see if onions can be planted in kind of a non-invasive way in a food forest context. So we'll see how they do. I mean, so far they're doing great. But I think as things start to fill up, I might have to clear out around them a little bit, especially around here, clearing out around the front. But we'll see. That looks like it might be a rudbeckia or something. Popping up slightly fuzzy leaves there. I say slightly, those are significantly fuzzy. Whatever it is, it's going to be good. And this is kind of a fun one. This, I believe, is a Carolina bush pea. And you can see it's got those absolutely massive clover-shaped leaves. It actually looks a lot like a lotus. This is a classic pea leaf right here, but this is to me is looking very lotusy, and really an interesting flower. I don't think I've ever actually observed the flower in detail before, but pretty weird looking. It actually interesting, yeah. It reminds me a lot of this the lupin flower, which is right over here. You can see bees on that. That's what a great sight. What a great sight. Is that a 2% battery warning? Yes, it is. All right, I better wrap this up. But yeah, super lush over here. Another native grass. I think that's a Sorghastrum natans, a switchgrass. This is obviously something here. I see a tag at the bottom. I can't quite make it out. Maybe a New York aster would be my guess. More monarda, chamomile, anise hyssop, an anise flavored mint back there. Absolutely massive hazelnut starting to pop off. Only a couple more years now before these guys are real tall. But yeah, some chives right here, and a grape growing up this small trellis. And yeah, things here are doing well. It's early June, and it looks like it's going to be a good year. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.